Hey all, I'm Matt Reardon with Nutrien Ag Solutions. Wanted to provide a quick update on Hurricane Erin. This was a storm when we went to bed last night and Friday evening. Frankly, it was a rather strong Category 2 storm, but it intensified very quickly overnight, underwent what we call rapid intensification. In fact, the National Hurricane Center, I think just yesterday afternoon, put out a tweet expecting or at least highlighting the potential that this storm could undergo such a rapid strengthening. We saw that. Unfortunately, we're looking at a beautiful, kind of a haunting Category 4 on the borderline of a Category 5 hurricane this morning in the central to western Atlantic. Now, this is just north of the Lesser Antilles here. If we look on the left, we can see Puerto Rico. Here, this is some of the islands of the northern Lesser Antilles like Anguilla and the British Virgin Islands. Now, the storm has been tracking a little bit west of where we thought the track would be here this morning. What I mean by that, if you look, we have the grid line on this page from tropicaltidbits.com here. And the storm we thought was going to track a little bit more toward the northwest at this point. And you'll notice that it's tracking almost due west. So that's going to put its track a little bit on the southern periphery of some of these kind of forecast envelopes that we've been talking about. Now, the good news is this expectation, at least here this morning, is that the storm is still expected to stay out to sea and avoid a mainland U.S. landfall and hopefully sneak just to the west of Bermuda and kind of complete the Atlantic Gulf Stream field goal between the major populated areas. It is nonetheless what we call, at least at this point, a beautiful fish storm. So disturbing the surface waters over the Atlantic, providing this excellent satellite imagery that we're looking at now, but hopefully not directly threatening life or property at this point. We do have tropical storm watches out for some of the northern Lesser Antilles here, getting a little bit closer over to the British Virgin Islands now. But man, just from satellite, this is getting to be one of those textbook hurricanes that we're going to remember from this 2025 season at this point. Recent aircraft reconnaissance in the storm has found quickly dropping pressures. You can see just here, within the last kind of 30 minutes to 60 minutes, pressures have dropped from 951 millibars down into the 930s. They may be dropping thereafter, and kind of clues that this storm is still strengthening even at the brink of Category 5. So the expectation at this point is that perhaps within the hour, by the time I get this recorded and posted, we might be looking at Category 5 Hurricane Erin. Would be the first hurricane of our season here, and it just so happens to at least nearly be reaching Category 5 strength. Some of the recent aircraft reconnaissance has found flight level winds up near 150 knots. They'd have to correct that down for the surface, but almost certainly at this point looking at a storm that is flirting with Category 5 strength. Now, I alluded to this earlier. The good news looking at that National Hurricane Center forecast cone is it is again sneaking north of the Greater Antilles here, west of Bermuda, hopefully, which is this little island here out in the Atlantic, and fortunately off the coast of the mainland U.S. So this is still the expectation. The track this morning, you can see this was about 8 a.m. Saturday, about 40 minutes ago, still moving a little bit west of this expected track. Now, the good news is if I jump over and show you all these ensemble forecast tracks. This is just from the ECMWF. You'll notice there were a few tracks here that intensified quickly, much like Erin has done, stayed near the kind of western or southern periphery of that envelope, if you will. But even as I take this forecast out, those also recurve. So we're seeing a number of these forecast ensemble members recurve out. None at this point, whereas maybe yesterday or the day before on Thursday, we saw some of these getting very close to the Carolinas. We're not seeing that here today. So even more so, just assurance that the storm is staying out to sea. Now, that westward deviation, if it continues here this morning through 9 a.m., 10 a.m. Central Time when I'm recording this, the Bahamas, we could start seeing watches or warnings posted there, particularly in the far eastern islands there. But still the expectation is the storm is going to stay out to sea. As I wrap this up here, I do want to mention if we look over in the central Atlantic, this forecast, I just took it all the way out to Friday of next week. That is August 22nd. We can see the storm now exiting out well off into the North Atlantic at this point. But we do have some disturbance perhaps trying to form next week in the central Atlantic. Now, the good news is the Atlantic is perhaps getting a little bit less favorable for hurricane and tropical development. If we look at the forecast of the MJO, this is rising motion over the tropical regions of the globe. And what we're looking for is green to see that kind of promotion for ascent and storm development. And if we look at it into kind of next week, we really see a lot of what we'll call descent over the Atlantic, and a lot of this main tropical ascent is over in the far western Pacific or the eastern Indian Ocean, over Indonesia or Australia, and that's likely going to dampen some of the development that perhaps attempts to occur next week. Can't rule it out, though. We'll keep an eye on it next week, but for now, all eyes are on Hurricane Erin this morning as it hopefully recurves out into the Atlantic. Thanks for watching.